What's good? Welcome to JSFrancisLegacy Studios. Today we have my family on here. Super excited about them being on the podcast with me today. Today we're going to be talking about why financial literacy matters in the Black families. Let's get right into it.
Also, it's really important to once you learn the things to share those things. And starting off early, I think is really important because if you give it if you give if you make it relatable to a younger generation, it's not something you have to talk them into doing. It's something that they want to do and they're interested in. Like Eva, I guess you could talk about that a little bit too, because I know I've been Eva's son, I've seen we've been in well, as soon as I started learning about stocks, I kind of took him along with me on the journey. And now, in his early, not even 20 yet, and he already has a better understanding than most. I think most adults in our communities when it comes to what finances look, whether it's investing in stock or high yield savings accounts. There's so many things that he knows just because he knows to ask certain questions, but that has to come with the language and the environment of being exposed to that early. So I think I think Eva's son is like a great bastion of that to share what it looks like to share it with the next generation and how it shows up, you know.
hmm Yeah, and I think he appreciates it too because he sees the difference between him and his friends and how he's a little bit more responsible when it comes to saving or investing in his future because he had support, someone there to guide him along the way. So it has been he's actually helped me by giving me some tips, and yeah, he's really doing well with saving and being mindful of where he wants to put his money and invest. So I think, yeah, that would be great if we want to recap this talk next time and have him come on and talk. I think that would be good too.
I think that's something that we can definitely talk about. I just wanted to, like I said, you mentioned it, Dina, and I was like, I would love to hear more on it because, and what you were talking about, that's something that I think really did fall through the crack of all generations, whether it's, Black culture or even whoever, it don't matter, right? But it's just like I never learned anything like that of stocks and all of that until I was an adult. And it was like now I'm picking up the paces. I'm in my 40s now and trying to do the stocks and do everything, but I'm doing all the research on my own. So if we came up with this kind of thing like early in our lifetime, I would have probably been better off when it comes to stuff like that. So I appreciate the fact that you guys are doing that with your kids, and that's the right way to go about it. Now, question for you: how early do you think it's good to kind of teach them? Are we talking like 10 years old or something like that, or
I think it's important to incorporate from the beginning. For now, my girls are 4,
yeah,
and in a way, I'm kind of tying money to things. Is if they want things, I don't just give it.
yeah,
I'm clear on the fact that some things are going to take time because you need money to buy it. And I ask them if they have money, like just trying to make it conscious to them that there's certain experiences that happen because there's a financial tie to it. And at their age and their mind, all I have to do is open a wallet and it'll happen. But I'm trying to draw the connection to them for them to the money, the work, the time, right? So they complain about the time I'm not home, but the perfect example I had earlier today. Keena's asked me if I'm going to be her teacher, and I had to explain to her that I need to work so that I can pay a teacher because if I don't work, I can't do the other things, And so just the small conversations, being really candid with your children about what is happening around money. There's no need to hide it. There's no need to shield them from the situation because then they have an unrealistic view on what's happening and why it's happening. But then as that goes on, um, I think that as soon as they understand the value of money, pennies, dollars, any idea of what it can get them, I think it's really important to start tying that to saving, investing, putting things aside. So for me right now, I feel like at my girl's age, it's more about delayed gratification so they understand that not everything happens immediately because it's wanted, and specifying the difference between a want and a need. So it's just a discipline. I think it comes early, and then as they get older and they understand more, you can kind of tie the lessons to their experiences instead of forcing it down their throat, because nobody wants to do something that they're not like inherently interested in to begin with. So as soon as the opportunity arises for me to have a conversation that's candid and clear about what this looks like and why, I'm going to use it as an opportunity to teach them what I know in that space, so that by the time they're 12, I was teaching Lasim about stocks when he was like 10, 12 years old. And he was into it. He got into it earlier. Now at 19 years old, he has his mind wrapped around things. So it's just a mindset. It's a shift in the way you look at money and the way your relationship is with it, because it's always been put out in a way where it's not abstract. It's actually tied to something you know. So I don't think there should be an age. I think it should just be like, as soon as your child shows an interest and shows that they understand, you should just be really clear with them as to what you're doing. But you got to know what you're doing in order to share that information too.
Right. Yeah, I started Logan and Gigi on I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but Green Light. Um, I said, yeah, the one that I told Tawana about it, actually.
Yeah, we gave she gave that to Rain as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I started that on for the kids, and I told Tawana about it, and she started it for Rain, and that one really helped when it came to saving. But like I said, the whole stocks and everything, and I didn't learn that till I was older. So I'm looking into that now because I'm trying to get some stocks and investments. Right now, I have a separate account that provides more interest than the regular accounts out there, banking accounts. Like I think it's called SoFi Banking. I see Priscilla nodding on that one. So yeah, SoFi. I open an account there, and I'm putting money in there, and that's gonna create some interest that's higher than what the regular banks are doing. And then after that, once it caps off a little bit, then I'm gonna put it in stock and start some
Is that a high yield savings account?
high yield savings and checking.
And check-in. Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things you can start off with. It's
Yeah,
easy, it's simple. The money's already there.
right,
If it's going to sit there, make it work for you,
right.
And then when it comes to investing, I think the first thing that everyone should know about it is you got to be smart and consider it as a gamble. Even if you think it's a sure gamble, it's always a risk. So I always tell people, don't put anything in a stock market that you can't afford to lose, because if you don't have that mindset, you're tied to it too heavily that it becomes like almost a level of anxiety that you can't let go of. And I wanted to also make a suggestion. This
Okay.
is like one of my favorite books. Um,
Yeah.
it's a little book of common sense investing. It's quite simple, very small, um,
Who's it?
straightforward to the point.
It didn't say.
By John C. Bogle.
Okay.
Bogle,
Okay.
right? And I I'm gonna say, when it comes to anything that you're really interested in, taking the time to listen to, read from, and take information from people who've done it already and are successful in that space, it saves you so much legwork of trying to figure it all out yourself. Somebody already walked the path, so kind of like go in that space. So a lot of the things that I listen to, how I spend my free time when it comes to reading, or I like to ingest information that helps to serve the need. So I would always say, if you're really interested in something, get an audiobook, listen to it on your commute, something to just kind of like get your mindset shifted to a space of abundance instead of scarcity, because I think that's a really important thing too. Because investing is it's really a mindset more than anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do anyone else have any say on that or anything like that? Before we move on.
No, I totally agree with everything. And even you don't, for me, I feel like you don't need to be a SME or, a expert on something in order to try to give, or I guess try to teach someone else, meaning you can teach with someone else going together, where sometimes it's just that person hand in hand, locked in step, that will help the growth on both ends. And it's just that, that one step. So don't be afraid to just jump in there. You don't have to be an expert, and then take someone along for the ride, just like we're doing, with the family.
Yeah, I like that. And it's all about that support. I think, Rob, weren't you talking to Stephanie today, just in regards to like going through the motions and having that support, and don't be like going through with people that are negative or something like that?
Yeah, you can't really when you're going through something, you have to make sure that you don't have people around you that's gonna draw from you when you don't have.
Robert, I'm sorry, you sound a little low to me.
Oh, because I'm not. This is the type of mic where I have.
Okay, yeah, it sounds a lot better. Sitting there like this. Maybe it'll just get better. I'm like, stay then. All right.
Sorry, but yeah. What I was saying was basically you can't pour from an empty cup, and if you do, they'll come around and eventually ask you for the cup.
Mhm.
Like you done poured everything you had, and they notice that you don't have anything. Nobody's gonna reciprocate that when you're down and out. You don't even you yourself not even thinking right. How can you properly ask for help? Then you got, as far as if you want to make it about me being a man, men don't ask for help.
Mhm.
So now we have to. That's another issue all on its own. That
Mhm.
I was speaking with Jason about that. I feel as if it's a field that is almost untapped. It's therapy for everybody, some form of.
Mhm.
But when it comes down to men, especially dealing with loss, we're supposed to deal with it. You're a
Mhm.
man. You'll be okay.
Don't
But
talk about it.
yeah, don't talk about it.
Mhm.
And that doesn't do anyone no good.
I
So
think that speaks heavily to your circle too. I think that has a lot to do with it. Sometimes what happens is we find ourselves around the same people for a long time, and we don't realize that they're not serving our need anymore. Because I'm speaking from I'm not a man, but I watch the person like. My husband is a man, and he deals with loss and grief, but he surrounds himself with people who are comfortable with telling his brothers are comfortable with telling him that they love him and they're here to support him, and they hug each other and they give each other love in a space that they don't have to worry about not seeming manly. If anything, that's the most manly thing they can do for each other, is support each other in that space. So I think a lot of times what we are used to, if your reality continues to look that way and it doesn't serve you anymore, it's time to look around the room and ask yourself, do you still belong in that room?
mhm.
I think that goes for men and women alike, because just like you say with
Mhm.
men, they're not supposed to grieve or deal with loss in a way that you feel like is healthy. I think for women, what happens is we burden ourselves too heavily with the things that are around us, and we don't ask for help when we know we need it. We don't sit down when we know we need it. We don't rest when we know we need it. But if we're surrounded by other women that are like, "Nah, sis, take a seat," like it changes the way you show up for yourself. So I think that's something that we have to do for ourselves, though. We can't ask someone else to do it for us. You have to look around and say, this is what serves and this is what doesn't.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in to JS Francis Legacy Studios. Next time, we're going to be talking about Hidden Gems Montessori School, where my cousins will be talking about what they have built out when it comes to the school, and what is a Montessori school. So stay tuned and stay blessed.